or disabilities or physical limitations aren't seen by the person that you're giving the service to, which means that you're able to manage them much better. So entrepreneurship is always a great way to add extra income and resources to your plan. Now, the elements of retirement and Social Security laws that discourage returning to work could be if you go to work on a program and you're collecting Social Security, there's only so much money that you can make while you're working. So of course you're going to earn less income. So this barrier means that you would have to either have another person who earns income in your household, or you have to employ your pets and your children who are over 16 years old. The other barrier to employment can be grandparenting or return of adult children or caring for an ill family member. Now, these barriers simply mean that because you've raised your children and they're gone and their children return to you, you're not only grandparenting, but you have to go back to all those parenting skills that you had 20 to 30 years ago and extend them to a new generation of children that have skills and beliefs and ideas that have no place when you were growing up. So it's always good to go and get help from the community or a neighbor or a friend or a close relative when it comes to parenting or the return of adult children, because they can become our support system. And of course, also when you're caring for ill family members, go to AARP. They have a great support system to help you get finances, extra income when it comes to paying for the care for that ill family member. The hospice services, they can provide food and transportation for an ill family member who's bedridden. So there are barriers, however, with careful planning and careful consideration when a person is returning to your household, all these barriers, even though it may be a year or two, can be overcome and you can re-enter the field of work. So what steps will you take to overcome these barriers? Remember that you always have friends, and you have to know yourself. You have to know your limitations and what you are capable of doing at your age. At each new day is a new gift to plan your next 2, 3, 4, and 5 years. One step at a time and one day at a time. And of course, with much grace and much wisdom, can you overcome many of the barriers that have been presented as challenges in lives. Once we overcome these challenges, of course, we are better to ourselves and to those that we serve in our families and our communities. Now that you are planning and you're taking the steps to a new career or to transition back into the workforce, either for school, for work, or entrepreneurship, you will redefine success now because you have the time. If you're unemployed or underemployed, how are you going to plan to become employed? If you receive Social Security or a pension, or you're exacting loan money from your 401k plan, how are you going to supplement that or not exceed the amount of money that you can collect, however, live within your means? If you want to change careers, what do you have to do? Your plan would be to find out the career that you're interested in, find a local adult school, and the WIA programs for free career training and free consultations. Workforce Investment Board and adult schools are a great way to meet counselors that can chart your personal employment plan and then give you copies, and then you decide which area you're going to go into when it comes to the career, and then you decide how long it's going to take you. Most times with the WIA programs and adult schools begin every semester, and then there's quick summer courses to complete for changing careers. So the first step is write down what you want to happen. And as you write it down, visualize yourself in the thing or the place or the position or the job or the entrepreneurship that you'd like to have. You visualize yourself moving and doing what it is that you want to happen. Second, what is your inspiration? Who inspires you to change? If it's you, or if it's the return of a family member, if it's your community, if you decide to start a nonprofit organization, if it's something that you want to do at your church, or if you want to go and join a singing company that sings throughout the community, write down what your inspiration is, and then let that chart your way to your next career. So, on your way to employment, part or full-time, be flexible. Know what it is that you can and cannot do. When you fix your mind on what it is that you want, of course, remaining focused is the way to get there. Earn your extra income by starting your business. Do your contract work. Now, if you decide not to do anything, just remember that you have to make the decision to adjust within your income. So it might mean not going to the movies every weekend, or not getting your nails and your hair done, not buying the extra toolbox. So adjusting and living peaceably, and don't complain because it's the decision that you made not to do anything. The other thing is, if you have extra room in your house, you can always rent a room, but of course always do a background check and have a contract. That way, if the person decides that they don't want to pay rent anymore, you can carefully evict them and still have a peaceable relationship with that person. Just remember that whatever you do will work for you. Now, to get help with strategies and eliminating barriers, we have places that are right at our fingertips that we never ever think about. I mentioned earlier about going to the library. The library is a wonderful place to find the research for these agencies. So to eliminate the barriers, a lot of community-based organizations have wonderful, wonderful programs for people who are 45 and 55 and older who are looking to go back to work. And these resources are at no cost. Nonprofit agencies that have been started. There's a list of nonprofit agencies that's in the reference section. And of course, there are great places to volunteer. If you want to spend time volunteering at an agency and gaining wonderful work experience, you can volunteer and help someone else who's employed, who's thinking about transitioning from maybe perhaps the government into a community agency. A lot of faith-based organizations also do great community outreach, and they can help you overcome these barriers. They can help you identify, of course, if you haven't written out your plan, they can help you identify a plan and the purpose for achieving more cash in your household. For instance, if you have bills that were paid because your car broke down, some of the faith-based organizations have funding where they can help you pay for your car, or just pay for some utility bills so that you can get to the next month with careful planning and a careful budget. The other great way to have persons in your life to help you eliminate these barriers will be to create a family and friends network. So you will find all of the family members and friends within your community or your church who also share the same ideas that you have when it comes to creating a peaceful and stressful environment and returning to work. So you all come up with ideas, and this is your support system. You make the ideas on what it is you want, how you're going to achieve these ideas, what it's going to cost. Once you get this, then you start carefully planning. And this way you have your own network and you have your own support, and it didn't cost you anything. So these are 4 great ways that you can achieve the elimination of any of these barriers and returning back to work. Or just in recareering meaning that you're going to redo some things. You're going to reconstruct, reorganize, redefine, and move on to the next phase of your life. Also, if you decide that you don't want to do the family or friends network, remember that the government has an accountability to all of the people that have worked within its arena. The government has created the Task Force on Aging of the American Workforce. The task force is represented by seniors of workforces and 9 agencies within the state and federal government. They are from the Department of Commerce, Education, Health and Human Services, Labor, Transportation, Treasury, Employment Opportunity Commission, Small Business Administration, and the Social Security Administration. Now, the purpose of this task force was to identify strategies that will enhance employabilities of those who are aged 50 years and over, and for them to remain in the workforce by researching and studying trends to identify strategies for businesses that will take advantage of the skilled labor and expertise that's only offered by leaders of industries that have retired. Now, as a result of these different agencies, there are 2 programs that you can ask for at your local workforce investment boards, or your WIAs or workforce centers. They are the SARE Jobs for Training Progress and the IUTA program. IUTA and SARE, they train anyone who's been retired and who is 55 years or older. They give them retraining and re-entry into the workforce by offering a stipend of the state minimum wage. Training can be from 12 to 25 hours a week and can continue from 2 to 5 years. And it is a great way to meet new friends. And in addition to obtaining new skills, you get free job training skills, especially if you want to work on the computers, learn how to program computers, perform data entry. If you never worked in an office before, there's free training classes and almost anything that you want when you're going through the SARE Job Training Program or the IUTA program. So these are 2 agencies that have come about as a result of the government accountability to reemploy seniors who are over 55. And I don't like to use the word seniors, but the more mature, because we do rely on all of the strength and all of the expertise that those who have gone before us in these industries. So we're going to end this program, Eliminating Barriers to Employment. Thank you all for coming.